Shohei Ohtani is closing in on history, but can he make this season even more incredible? My name is Ryan Bershinger. We're going to dive into what Ohtani's doing and what it might mean for the postseason, and unfortunately, how banged up and hurt and all just broken up the pitching staff is. We're going to go into that as well. She's Monse Bolaños. He is Beau Benson. This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodgers Zone. Let's get into it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. The Dodgers Zone.
That's big strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter at 10:17 in the evening of June the 29th, 1990. If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky.
The sickest LA Dodgers podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, sorry guys. I didn't know just how many adjectives I should use to describe the state of the Dodgers pitching staff.
I mean, look, dude, it's fine. Podcasts are going to be extinct soon. There's no reason to worry. The Ultimate one just launched this week. There's the Talk Tua podcast.
You're right.
What's the point in even trying, dude?
This is, you know what would be smart for us is to just rebrand as a Talk to a reaction podcast where we just we just react to the
just put ourselves in a box in the corner of the Talk to a video and just there you go. That's smart.
I think that's better if it's just you two. Just you two.
Okay, that's
you
fine.
two do that one.
That's fine.
Oh, so then we could put two. It'd be like talk to
exactly.
the two guys and talk to that great search engine optimization. Like that's
how many
just all the words in.
How many like copycat Dolphins podcasts started this week with some variation of that title?
I'm very proud of everybody.
I hope
it has to be. Yeah.
Everybody that I'm in fantasy leagues with, and that includes you guys. I'm very proud of everyone, including you guys. Nobody used a Hawk Tua reference in their team name. I was expecting one. And I was going to smack them down both verbally and physically, but it never happened. So good work. Yeah, everyone.
We got no Talk Tua, but we got some classy names like Poles Ridas, Bijan These Nuts. So
who's that?
Very proud of everybody. That's Monse, dude. I saw that. I was shocked.
Why are we doing this?
Stunned and
I
shocked.
thought we were talking about the Dodgers, not my fantasy football names.
I had to go to the feigning couch. It was so bad.
It's fine. I beat Monse by like 50 week one, so that was
okay. Jeez, dude.
Hold on to that.
No one likes a sore winner.
It's all right. I lost to Patrick after that, which is just that's hard to recover from.
You lost the Patsky, huh?
Well, who's not losing right now is the Dodgers. We're actually recording this in the last couple innings of they're currently leading 6-3 to the Marlins on Wednesday evening. Feel good about this one.
I pray to God that we are still recording by the time this game is tied in the 9th.
It's the 8th right now. We should be okay. Should be fine. It's the Marlins. I get that. Unfortunately, when I say it's the Marlins, there's a Bobby Miller literally just got lit up by
obliterated.
The Marlins. So, we're going to talk about the state of the pitching staff, but let's start positively. Okay,
Did they just call Will Smith out? They called Will Smith out on that. They called him out. He has to challenge that.
The umpires want to leave.
That's so bad.
They don't want to watch the Marlins play. They just want to get this over with.
Leave it to baseball to put in instant replay and just be completely terrible at it.
It's been really funny.
It's been bad. Especially like Dodgers related the last couple nights.
Yeah.
It's been really bad. And like you see Altuve last night? Yeah. That was pretty sick.
Hits it off of his foot. Very obviously. That
was funny.
Off his foot.
Yeah, that was a rare Jose Altuve win right there.
I know.
You can have that one.
The fact that he still ended up getting ejected for it.
Yeah.
It was a situation where we all won, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was good.
that was a good
He
one.
is-
And then the Padres lost. Honestly, win all the way around. Just
Oh, and yeah, that was such a good play to end it too.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. You had Josh Hader blow a save. Like, shit. What a great game.
Shot in front of the game.
Every single thing about that game was just phenomenal for us.
Yeah.
So good. Hey, there we go. Bringing the positivity to
Good
start.
vibes.
And as I mentioned, somebody who's probably not going to be starting though as a pitcher is Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk about right now. He's at 48 and 49. And Joe Davis mentioned on the broadcast tonight, like he's got to get stolen bases first, because hitting that 50th home run is going to be way more dramatic than the 50th stolen base. So let's get the stolen bases out of the way, get that to 50, and then get back home and hit that 50th at home. This is writing itself pretty nicely, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean it's a lock, right? If he gets stuck on 49 home runs, I am going to walk into traffic. That is a promise to you guys. There's no way on God's green earth that he cannot get to 50-50.
No.
3 games against the Rockies, 3 games against the Padres, and then 3 games against the Rockies in Colorado, right? Is that the end of the regular season?
Yeah. So he could actually end up with
to.
like 65. Or he's going to Colorado. So
look, if he wants to get them all against the Padres, that's fine. Because I really am annoyed that series now is like meaningful, like horrifyingly meaningful. So yeah, like he can do it there. That's cool, but he's gonna do it, and I mean, thank God, because there's not a lot else to be happy about the way this season has unfolded. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it is crazy to really consider it like a guarantee, because it is him hitting 50-50 is like water is wet. It's like, I'm fine that you said that you walk into traffic, because I don't think you're gonna have to do that. Like,
no, I don't think
really
I will,
is a super guarantee that he's going to get it. It's just a matter of when and where he does it. Obviously, ideally, it's to hit the home run last, but I hope that's not something on his mind, in the sense that when he hits home run 49, that he's not like, I have to steal to make sure I get it first. And then he steals and he's thrown out and he like gets stuck in a weird, I hope he's not thinking like that it just happens, because yes, it would be better if the home run comes last. But if it doesn't, you're going to tell me people aren't going to be screaming their heads off when he gets that 50th steal? Come on. It's still going to happen.
Oh, it's very exciting. We're just awaiting this incredible moment. And one factor that like we completely forget about too is no Dodger has ever hit 50 home runs.
No, I know.
That's insane. So he's already one shy of tying the franchise record. And then he'll be the first to ever hit 50. And one thing that's especially cool about this, and I'm going to shout out my guy, Bernie Fratto. Bernie Fratto is a weekend host on Fox Sports Radio. You can catch him 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern on Friday nights, and the Saturday mornings, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. Pacific. Sorry, Pacific time. God's time zone.
The real time, yeah. Come on.
I'm so used to giving out show times in Eastern time, because we're like trained to do that by default. But 11 to 2 and then 11 to 3. Anyway, the point I'm making here is that a great point that Bernie mentioned on his show last Friday night is he was talking about Shohei Ohtani. And this is I think a great point, because it's something that's never brought up. Ohtani having this season this year is insanely impressive, because most players, when they sign gigantic contracts, they actually take a step back in production that first year. Typically because we have, as Dodger fans, we have Adrian Beltre as the poster child of a contract season, right? Like when he first came up with the Dodgers, he was very young and he clearly had a ton of talent. And then he went off for 48 home runs in his contract season. And then he left. He got a gigantic contract elsewhere. And initially, when he first left, his numbers did take a dip, because, it's hard to replicate the power numbers that he had that season. But also people kind of just attributed it to, hey, he's going for that big contract, so the numbers are going to inflate. Just looking at a bunch of different guys in their contract seasons and what they did. Aaron Judge, of course, the 62 home run season was his contract season. And then he re-upped with the Yankees. His average
Arson
dropped.
Judge.
Arson
well
Judge,
too.
yes. Arson Judge then went
great.
off to the Giants.
Yeah.
His batting average dropped 44 points in the season after he signed that big contract with the Yankees. And of course, he's having an MVP season this year. A note that I'm going to make about all of these guys are worthy of their contracts and have performed to the level of their contracts because they're superstars. But in that first season, they do take a step back. Bryce Harper didn't win MVP until his third season with the Phillies. It was a little rocky when he first came over there. Mookie, his first season was 2020, but you go to 2021, he hit 264. That's his career low. Albert Pujols, obviously, like when he went to the Angels, things didn't go that great for him. Garrett Cole, he won a Cy Young, but that's his fourth season with the Yankees. It took him a while to return to that Cy Young form. Jacob deGrom hasn't been healthy since 2019. Max Scherzer had a career high in losses in his first year after signing a huge contract with the Nationals. Corey Seager, well worth his contract and helped the Rangers win a World Series. Also hit 245 in his first season with the Rangers. Fernando Tatis Jr. got suspended for a long time in his first season after signing his huge contract with the Padres. Trey Turner hit 266. Remember, he was struggling out of the gate with the Phillies. Francisco Lindor, this year's MVP, apparently, he hit 230. 230 in his first season with the Mets after signing that gigantic contract.
He's hitting 230 with the Mets this year.
They
hated him. They wanted to kill him. That revisionist history is going to drive me nuts. I'm so glad that debate is over, seeing as his back is hurting him now or whatever it is. Like,
I know.
God, dude, what a dumb 2 weeks.
And then, of course, just to round this out with some Padres, Manny Machado, after signing his huge contract with the Padres, he had his lowest OPS in a few years. And then Xander Bogaerts obviously fell off pretty hard in his first season with the Padres, making that contract instantly look bad. The entire point here is, again, these are all guys, except for Xander Bogaerts, who are excellent, excellent players and very much deserving of their gigantic contract, and they're superstars. But even superstars were not invulnerable to taking a step back after getting the bag. Ohtani got the bag, and he's having his best offensive season yet. It didn't stop him at all. If anything, it's fueled him even more to be superhuman offensively. It's really incredible to watch. And especially since, he's making only $2 million this year, actually, because he pushed all of the money away. So obviously, money is not a factor. It's all about success. It's all about performance on the field, and it's all about winning. And that's really the best part about having Ohtani, is the fact that he's so dedicated to winning, so dedicated to being a great baseball player, that the money doesn't do anything for him. If anything, the change of scenery and the new contract just fueled him to be even better than who he is. Thank you, Bernie Fratto.
I mean,
never mind. He sucks. He just struck out on 3 pitches. Get him out of here.
Not a factor. Come on, guys. Money is a factor.
DFA this guy.
Let's be real.
Jeez.
Just not getting it. But money, of course, is a factor.
I'm not saying that that he doesn't care about money. I mean, maybe I did just say that, but the point is,
if you saw some of those parlays he was putting out there, you would care about the money too.
He didn't play for the money. He got the huge contract, and that didn't cause him to put his foot off the gas in any way. And that's incredibly impressive. It's very admirable, and it's honestly not that common in the majors. As I was all these superstars, guys who get the bag, get that gigantic contract, it actually takes them a couple years to kind of return to that superstar level. It doesn't happen right away for most guys. So I just think it's very notable that Ohtani is doing that in his first season with the Dodgers, literally about to break a franchise record. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But something he's not doing this year is pitching. That's the other thing. And this has been a recent conversation where he's been seen warming up in the bullpen, not during the game. He's been seen working out in the bullpen, and he seems to be at least throwing pretty close to full strength. Monse, I'll start with you. If Ohtani is available to pitch in the postseason, do you think he should be pitching in the postseason?
It's a very loaded question.
Yes.
Do I think he should be doing it? No. Do I think there's a chance he does? Yes. I think it is something that they're actually going to weigh on the pros and cons because of the situation with our pitching staff right now. I think a couple of months ago, the idea wasn't that we were literally down to our last arm to figure out the postseason, but here we are in that situation. But I don't think he should do it. I do think there's a chance.
Beau, what do you think?
I'll say the same thing I said last night with Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington. I don't put him out there for a starting job, right? Mm-hmm. But if it is Game 7 of the World Series, you need 3 outs, you're up by 1, and Shohei Ohtani taps Dave Roberts on the shoulder and says, I can get those outs for you. Okay. Yeah, do it. I don't care. It's not my money. Like, he can blow out his elbow if they win the World Series. I don't give a shit. If he just has to hit for the rest of his career with the Dodgers, it's worth it. Like, that's all. That's the bottom line on it. Like, he's not starting. Like, he doesn't start a game, but if he can pitch in relief, sure, why not?
I think Beau is right on it. Like, a situation like that, I 100% can see it happening. That's why I'm not completely saying no, even though I don't think so. I don't think that's the right choice.
Yeah, and I don't think he will. Yeah, I don't think he will. It's been such a weird conversation too, because like Dave mentioned it, and then Ohtani was like, no, I wouldn't. I haven't had any conversations like that. So it's like, it's just weird Dodger stuff yet again. But yeah, no, it's if you're talking about winning the World Series and he's your best option to do it, then yes, go explode your elbow for glory, Shohei. That's fine.
And like, thinking about the Ohtani script, how even more perfect would it end if he goes in to pitch at the very end during a World Series? Like, stop.
No, yeah. Listen, and we know Dave Roberts, and we know that exact thought has crossed his mind plenty of times, just how beautiful and incredible of a moment that would be. I think, first of all, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think that he's not an option to start. Because if you're somebody who hasn't pitched the entire season, like Tony Gonsolin's doing rehab starts right now, I don't know if he's even really an option to start a game in the postseason, even though he's actually thrown a couple of rehab outings. Yeah, we'll get to that. But that's the thing, is that at the crux of this issue is the fact that the Dodgers are short on starting pitching. But if you're looking at Dodgers being short on starting pitching, Ohtani might come back and pitch, and thinking that somehow these two are connected issues, they're not. Ohtani's not an answer for a starting spot in the postseason because he's not stretched out at all. If he throws, it will be 1 inning, and that's it. Which is why I don't think it will happen, because I honestly don't think they need him to. I think the bullpen is actually very strong as it is. And I understand, like, the last couple games, the first game against the Marlins, guys came in and gave up runs. But for the most part, going down the line, Michael Kopech has been one of the best relievers in baseball since the Dodgers acquired him. Evan Phillips has bounced back incredibly well since having his struggles in the middle of the season. Blake Triton's been great since coming back from injury. Daniel Hudson's been solid since coming back from injury. Ryan Brazier has been very solid since coming back from injury. Yeah, he gave up a couple runs last night, but prior to that, he had like a mid 1.5 ERA or something like that since coming back from injury. Alex Vesia has been reliable all season. Brusdar Gratterall is just starting to come back into the mold, and if I would still feel good about Gratterall throwing playoff innings, even though he hasn't thrown much this season yet. And that right there is 7 guys that I just listed. So the 8th spot in the bullpen, It's I don't if Anthony Bonda's hand is put back together, maybe he's that guy. If Tony Gonsolin is on this team in the postseason, he would be a reliever. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Joe Kelly is an option for that spot because he's
not.
coming back too little, too late, and that's a good thing. So,
What do you mean? He looked great against the Marlins.
He did. Hey, 3 up, 3 down. Good. Thank you, Joe. I don't think Zach Logue is an option either because they needed him to burn some outs tonight, and he could not do that.
What about Donald Logue, famed character actor?
What about Rogue from X-Men? But the point is that I think that actually the bullpen is a strength for the Dodgers. I think they have so many different pieces that they could use in the postseason that it's just hard for me to see a situation where they feel like they really need Ohtani. Now, if they have back-to-back games where the bullpen gets completely taxed, then maybe that does happen. You think about like the 2017 World Series where Brandon Morrow had to throw 4 games in a row and his arm fell off the 4th game he had to come in. He was also facing a team that knew what he was pitching, but hey, whatever. But like we've seen like powerful relievers burn out in the postseason for us. So that is the kind of situation where maybe if the bullpen gets so taxed, which with the way the starting rotation looks, they might. So it could be an option, but I just don't think it will be because I think the bullpen is pretty solid as it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I think the bullpen.
No, the bullpen. The bullpen's fine. It's you can't ask them to go out there and throw 8 innings every game like they had to, was it yesterday or the day before, right? With Bobby Miller's start. So yeah, like that always changes people's perception of a bullpen. But like, yeah, especially going into the postseason, like they have enough arms that I trust, but it's just going to be a weird postseason, dude. Like it's going to be very odd. And I don't want to be like a defeatist or anything like that, but like, I don't think they're going to win a playoff series as it stands today. Because like your options are so thin in the starting rotation, but playoff baseball is so goddamn weird that all of a sudden you could get 5 shutout innings from Walker Buehler. Yeah. And then your bullpen's dominant the rest of the way. So it's weird. Yeah, but the whole pitching situation is just so dire with this team right now. And it's disappointing to say the least. This has been the most frustrating Dodgers season I think I've experienced in a long time, which is crazy.
The bullpen is good. It's great. But I am worried that we are going to tire them out because Yamamoto's both innings were 4 outings, were just 4 innings. Like, I don't know who's actually going to go out there and give the Dodgers 5-6 innings. I don't know. And I agree with Beau. Like, I'm worried about winning a series against the Padres, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, the Braves. I don't like any of them. I feel like they know that our pitchers are also like getting down to the end. And if they can just make Landon Knack pitch an extra 7 pitches in 1 inning, maybe it'll tire him out sooner. They have to go into the bullpen. I feel like teams know this, but I will tell you that the offense also looks really, really good. And I feel like the offense has a chance to win despite the pitching. Like maybe they know, guys, we have to score 9 runs because that dude's probably going to give up 7. We got to score 9. Like that may be something already on their minds, and call me crazy. The offense is really good right now that they can maybe still pull this off without having the pitching staff we were expecting to have.
I think that's totally fair. And there's a couple things there. For one, I'm glad you mentioned Landon Knack because I do think that he's actually pitched well enough to be either that last spot in the bullpen or honestly, he could be very well considered
Probably
to start.
Yeah.
And so if you go right now with the rotation of Yamamoto, Flaherty, Buehler, and Knack, I understand that, yes, Buehler has had a weird season and him going deeper into games has been difficult. And Yamamoto is still on a pitch count as he's being eased back in. and maybe it's just from the whiplash of last year's postseason, but I actually think that that's a pretty decent starting rotation going into the postseason. I really
fine.
don't. I understand that, again, at Monse, as you said, like, it really does come down to the offense. And if the offense does not perform, then it doesn't matter what the pitching staff is doing.
It's the same thing as last year, right? Like, what did Mookie and Freddie go 1 for 21 or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Like, if they do that again, then you're not winning any postseason games anyway. But yeah, like they have a staff that can compete in the postseason. Yeah. I just right now, as it stands, I don't know if they will, but they're welcome to prove me wrong. More than welcome to do so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think right now, if the Dodgers win the division, their most likely scenario is then actually the Brewers in the first round. Mm-hmm. And the Brewers have a very strong pitching staff, which, it is funny. The Brewers have clinched the division today after the Cubs lost. And how did that whole Craig Counsell thing go? That's interesting. It's pretty wild that the Brewers, who everybody, literally, as we've said before, like the Brewers ownership thought they were going to lose this season, and they still won the division. Looking at like the Brewers, for example, like they can toss out Freddie Peralta in game 1, and that's strong. And they have interesting guys like Colin Ray and Tommy, I think Tommy Minor is his name. And they've got they have a very strong bullpen. But still, like when you're measuring up pitching staffs that are going to be in the postseason, I think everybody has questions right now. The Phillies, of course, they look the strongest, but they really took a step back in the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. And they had a lot of guys really drop offensively. And the starting staff, there's still a ton of talent in their starting staff with, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez. Like they can roll out a very strong starting 4, but outside of them, I think the Dodgers could easily have the upper hand on any other starting 4 in the National League. For example, Monty and I clowned it last week where Jason Smith was talking about how the Mets rotation can easily lines up better than the Dodgers rotation, and he's citing Sean Manaea in game 1 and Luis Severino and Jose Quintana, and it's just listen, 2019, that's a tremendous starting 3. I get that Sean Manaea has had a very good season, but I think he also was last year the statistically worst starting pitcher in the majors.
Well, as we all know, the postseason in baseball is the most carbon copy from the regular season. So everything that happens in the regular season carries over into the postseason. You never see anything weird like Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. You never see anything weird like them just absolutely fucking face planting in the postseason. So no, Sean Manaea is going to be great. Perfect. It'll be helpful with Lindor out there too, because he's definitely going to be out there with back problems.
And maybe that's it. Really, it comes down to the fact that all this talk of the way the starting staff is, it could easily not matter. It really just if the offense performs, they're going to win. If the offense doesn't, then they don't. And that sounds so dumb to say.
That's the case for every team in baseball too. I don't think people understand that. Everyone is always oh well, pitching wins championships, and it's I don't know if that's fully true anymore, because offense is so good in baseball now. Guys hit so many home runs. You just have such mammoth it's just always been about situational hitting. Mm-hmm. And Bruce Bochy has won 5 World Series now, 4 World Series titles. And it's he could have also lost all of those too if the guy he brought in from the bullpen just gave up a hit in that spot, and they just don't it's so random. It's just random. It's entirely random. Anybody that says it's not is deluding themselves. Mm-hmm. We could be having this conversation in a month and a half and just be wow, Walker Buehler didn't give up a hit ever in the postseason. That's crazy. Shohei Ohtani went 50 for 50 just in the postseason. It's insane.
That's what we need. But briefly, let's touch on the fact that how we've gotten to this point with the pitching staff, and that is because Tyler Glasnow is done for the season. Mm-hmm. Apparently has gone missing. has fled the team.
He's going to the same exact darkness retreat that Aaron Rodgers went to.
Yeah, he's a Santa Clarita guy. He's
Hopefully
at Six Flags. he's in line for Goliath right now.
There you go.
He's just he's like, oh, they got Fright Nights now. I gotta get back there, man. I got this annual pass I haven't used. I get free tickets with it. And then of course Gavin Stone. Unfortunately, it looks like he may be done. He has not said that he's done. Dave Roberts said that it's unlikely.
More Dodgers bullshit.
It's not great.
No.
It's really not great. And it's a bummer because like Gavin Stone was the one stalwart in the rotation all season. And he definitely could have used a mid-season break because he's never thrown this many innings before, but because other people were getting hurt, he was kind of there out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a trooper, and unfortunately he's the Tony Gonsolin of this year, where he just gave his arm for the season.
It's just, I think it's frustrating just because there's nothing they can do about it. So we just kind of have to sit here at the end of the season and be like, all right, well, probably the most consequential regular season series of the last decade is coming up here in a week or, less than a week. And it's like, all right, so Landon Knack, you got game 1 there, buddy. Yamamoto, you're going 4 in game 2, and then it's a bullpen game in game 3, or Flaherty in game 3. Like, it's just, and it's weird. Like, I know the rush is to blame the Dodgers, but I don't know how much we can blame them. Mm-hmm. Nobody really knows anything about these pitching injuries, but it's just, we've said it before on the show here, but like, you do have to kind of reevaluate your entire approach, I think, in the offseason, because this is not sustainable. It's not at all. You're barely going to win the division if you win the division. I don't know if they're going to. They basically need to win every game against the Rockies, hope the Padres lose just to get themselves some cushion. But like, what's the answer to it? Like, I think maybe it's just like you sacrifice some performance for like a workhorse type guy. Like, do you just go sign a stable of guys with 3.5 ERAs and just pray for the best? Like, I have no idea. Nobody knows. No one knows. And it could be a different team that's dealing with this next year. Mm-hmm. We could be having this conversation about the Yankees or something next year. Like, it's all just a time bomb on every team, I think. The Dodgers are just getting hit with it first.
Yeah. Monse, what are your thoughts about the state of the staff? And
with what Beau is just saying, I do think they have to look at the approach here. And I don't disagree that it's maybe we're just the first ones to get hit this hard. And maybe the Dodgers just went all in with this season and everyone felt the pressure. And, the pitchers themselves wanted to give up their arms because they know how much pressure is on the season. But obviously, you got to look at the approach because of Ohtani, more importantly. Like, can you imagine if Ohtani comes back next year and then he has a 3rd elbow surgery? Like, that would just be catastrophic at that point. But I think it's the approach has to just be looked at because of having Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto on the team for the very many years to come, Yeah.
No, I think that's a good point. And I think hopefully one major fix that they can do is when Ohtani is a starter next season, you can roll out a 6-man rotation because of the fact that like you now have the flexibility with that one roster spot. You can have the same amount of relievers in the bullpen and then just have 5 starters and Ohtani. And that way guys are just throwing once a week. Maybe there's a lot less stress on the arms in that manner. And hopefully that relieves a lot of this because the Dodgers are once again leading the majors in days on the IL. I believe they have eclipsed 2,000. They're the only team in the league who has, and this is the 2nd straight year in which they are leading in that category. And of course, like when you now have that happen for back-to-back years, you kind of have to sit back and be like, all right, well, then something has to change. Like this is not good. Yeah. I wish that I had an answer for that. I wish anyone had an answer for that.
They should really just lobby to get the sticky stuff back, man. I think that would change it overnight, to be honest with you.
It honestly would help. It would. There needs to be some sort of like league regulated substance. I understand that they have rosin, but there needs to be something better, especially with the extra wear and tear on the arms that is coming from the pitch clock. Because I think a big thing too is the Dodgers have always invested in and developed young arms who were higher
Already
risk.
hurt. Mhm.
And yeah, guys who already had Tommy John, but it's because like that's where the velocity is, right? Like the guys who are throwing harder are the ones who are more prone to injury, yet at the same time, they want guys who are throwing harder.
Ye-
And you
Yeah.
have to really adjust the entire organizational philosophy.
Mhm.
And that's going to take years to do. Like, we're not, if
That-
they start that now, we don't see the fruits of that labor until like 3
No.
or 4 years from now, because of the fact that, again, the pitch clock has only been here for 2 years. And so if you go back and now you're realizing the effects of the pitch clock, and then you've got to change everything, you still have this entire pipeline of talent who was scouted and developed in a way that didn't factor the pitch clock into their development.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a messy situation. And if it means like guys lose their jobs and training staff, and all that, fine, sure, that's fine. Go ahead. Sorry, guys. But at the same time, like, who knows if that actually is going to make a difference? It's really hard to tell.
That's what drives me insane about like the Facebook fan discourse around this kind of stuff. Like it's not just a Dodgers thing; it's a baseball thing.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are just the first team experiencing it, but it could be the Orioles next year. It could be anybody. It could be the Astros next year. Like, it could be anybody, and it could be everybody all at once. That's just how pitching is viewed by all the smart Major League Baseball teams. If you told, NFL teams that the next best thing for your linebackers to do is to launch themselves at opponents like they're missiles, that is what they would teach through Pop Warner, through high school football, through college football, through pro football. And then 5 years later, when they're like, oh yeah, this actually increases the rate of CTE by 400%, and you're going to be missing a bunch of games, like, it would not just be an easy fix right away. Like, it's something you have to change organizationally. So it's not just something they can fix overnight. But yeah, I just wonder, like, if they do start bringing in more like Flaherty type guys who maybe don't throw 99, but throw 96, 95, can get through 6 innings, giving up 3 runs. Maybe that's what you do. And you fill your rotation with that, so that you don't have Glass now out there throwing 100 miles an hour for, however many starts a year before his arm explodes every single season. I don't know, but that could not be an answer either, because those guys just could get hurt too. So who effing knows, man?
Right. All right. Well, hopefully, I don't know, man. We have to kind of throw our hands up and see with everything with the pitching staff. There's only this last week and a half left of Dodger baseball. Beau doesn't think they win the division. I think they do.
I never said I don't think they win the division. I think it's going to be much closer. No, I said I don't think they'll win the play. I don't think they'll win a divisional series in the playoffs.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're going to win the division, but I never said they wouldn't do it.
Okay. That's fine. Hey, listen, they've got 6 games with the Rockies. If they do not win the division,
that's what but like, what has this team done this year to what has this team done this year to inspire confidence that they can finish strong against the Rockies?
They outscored the Braves like 19-1 in their last like 18 innings with them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the Sunday and Monday games with the Braves. I do want to mention that because they were, pretty tight, low scoring games, and then the offense exploded late in that game. Shout out Tommy Edman, because apparently
sickest Dodger of the week.
Yeah.
number one trade deadline pickup.
For sure.
Yes. Incredible.
For
That's
sure.
Second most powerful Dodger. It's like that out of nowhere. Very exciting, and he feels like a guy who can make a true impact in the postseason. So it's that's been awesome. Before we go, I want to pay homage to Homage. Homage specializes in ultra comfy, high quality looks, repping sports, pop culture, and more legendary moments. Learn more about Homage with the link in the description. I am wearing my shirt from Homage today, and I do not exaggerate when I say this is the softest shirt I own. It is very comfortable, and I very much enjoy it. So we've all got stuff from Homage, and we've been loving it. We got another week and a half here, so one more episode.
No lies
regular
detected
season.
there.
Yeah, no, they've been fantastic. We have one more episode to wrap up the regular season. And I think something we're going to get into next episode, assuming that Shohei Ohtani reaches that 50-50 plateau. Think about this. This is a tease for next time.
Mm-hmm.
Is Shohei Ohtani having the greatest season for a Dodger ever? Probably. We will talk about that next time. Monse, where can everyone follow you at?
Just at all social media, Monse Bolaños.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beau, how about you?
There.
There's Beau, not Jackson, for
There you
those
go.
of us who listen
He
on
did it.
audio-only platforms.
He did it. He did it.
This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodgers Zone. The Dodgers just wrapped up. They beat the Marlins, so good.
Magic number is 7.
to
So
redo this
sweep the
whole
Rockies. Sweep the Rockies all 6 games and beat the
Yeah.
Marlins tomorrow. You can lose all the games with Padres. It's
There
that
we
simple,
go.
folks.
There
it's
it
that
is.
simple.
Yeah. And then that's good. You let the Padres think that they can do that to us, and then you pull the rug out from under them. All right. This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodgers Zone. Domo arigato, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, the Dodgers Zone, on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.